The Houston Texans got this thing right. I just want to commend the Houston Texans. They have built their franchise correctly. They have set themselves up for success for the future. They realized they had a problem. They completely cleaned house. They got rid of Deshaun Watson. They got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. They got rid of JJ Watt. And fans got so upset. But they understood that they were going no further with the team they had. They went into full rebuild mode. They tanked. They got pieces in the draft. They picked their franchise guy to build their team around in CJ Stroud. And then they didn't just draft him and say, well, this is what we got. CJ's going to have to adapt. No, they built around him. They traded for the 3rd overall pick, picked a defensive stud in Will Anderson Jr. They gave CJ Stroud a receiving core that is at least competent. They hired a mastermind of the game of football in DeMeco Ryans, a guy who succeeded in San Francisco, a younger guy that relates well with CJ, and Ryans is a tough dude. He runs a tight ship in Houston, and it's working. The organization built this team around CJ Stroud. There is no confusion, and they gave him the keys. They did not just draft him and say, well, good luck, buddy, like a certain organization with a rookie quarterback. I mean, heck, they drafted around who would go well with CJ Stroud. They picked Tank Dell because CJ Stroud liked him. And now they are being rewarded in the first year. They went from having the 2nd overall pick last season, now they're in the NFL playoffs with their rookie quarterback who has put on a show, one of the best rookie seasons of all time, even after missing a few games to a concussion. I mean, let's just look at Stroud's numbers. 4,100 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, leading the Texans to a 10-7 record. I mean, for a rookie today, that's unheard of. Most rookies really struggle in their first year. And even if they don't struggle, they don't do that. I mean, he's been the hero. He's been the savior of this organization. It has been amazing. I have nothing but respect for Nick Caserio, the GM of the Texans, for doing this right, for not being selfish, for realizing there was a problem and fixing it. Now, let me make something very clear. The Texans are doing very well for themselves, but they are not Super Bowl contenders. Do not take them seriously this year. I mean, they may make the divisional, but who's to say they won't be a Super Bowl contender in 2 to 3 years? They have built something really nice here in Houston. They're only going to get better. They're only going to build. Their guys are only going to mature. This squad is going to be a fun one to watch. Now, as for the playoff game, the wild card game, the Texans will play the Cleveland Browns against 38-year-old Joe Flacco, who's been an amazing story in itself. I expect this one to be a great one. And honestly, I won't be surprised if the Texans end up coming with the dub and going to the divisional. Wouldn't that be a great story? Rookie quarterback takes his team to the divisional playoffs. That would be fantastic. I mean, there was a time, let's remember a few weeks ago, where people were calling CJ Stroud a legitimate MVP candidate. Like, there were people that were serious about that. I mean, this guy's good and all, but I didn't ever think he was an MVP level. But he's had a great year, and the Texans have done a perfect job of making sure this guy has everything he needs to succeed. He's the perfect guy for DeMeco Ryans. It's amazing what can happen when you have a competent front office.